Hello, I'm David DeCosmo. Welcome to ECTV Live. My trusted co-host, Rusty Fender, has this week off. He will join you next week while I take a little break. Our guest this week is Laurie Fleming, and I want to make sure I get this right. Laurie is Director of Active Older Adult Programs for United Neighborhood Centers.
You got it right. Thank you.
Well, I had to write it down because, see, I always said senior citizen centers.
Correct.
But you did, a year or two ago, you sort of modified the name. Not exactly sure why. Maybe there is a reason. I don't know why it's gone from senior citizens to why.
Well, there is, because sometimes I think senior centers got a negative connotation. And the senior of today is not the senior of yesterday.
Okay.
And so we have to change with the times, and we want to rebrand ourselves.
Okay. Well, we're going to get into a lot of the services that are offered at the centers. Now, United Neighborhood Centers actually operates a couple of the centers in the area, do they not?
Yes, we operate four. One in Carbondale, one in Jessup Mid-Valley, one in South Scranton, South Side, and then one in West Scranton, West Side.
All right. So if you are a member of any of those centers, you'll probably know about a lot of the services offered. If you are not a member, you may very well hear about these services and decide, well, I ought to be. Or you may be in an entirely different area, in which case you may still have the traditional senior center. I'm not sure. But at least look into what is offered at all of these centers, because you don't know what you may be missing. And we'll try to fill you in on a little bit of that. But our center reason for inviting Laurie in is because of a very unique program that's offered strictly in this area. I believe that it may have even been your idea. Certainly one of your predecessors, if not you. And that is a talent show involving our senior citizens. And it's called Seniors Got Talent. A little background, if you will, on Seniors Got Talent.
It's our 6th year, believe it or not.
Okay.
I've been coming here all these years with you.
Yes.
And we decided 6 years ago how do we celebrate the older adults in our communities in northeastern Pennsylvania? And May is Older Americans Month.
Yes.
So we started it back in May for that reason, to honor and celebrate the older adults in northeastern Pennsylvania. And then the scheduling challenges got hard with May. We had graduations, confirmations, First Holy Communion, so we decided to push it back to April in getting ready for Older Americans Month in May.
And we're talking about it now, so we're ready for getting ready.
There we are.
Exactly. When is this year's performance?
This year, the show is Sunday, April the 8th. It starts at 2 o'clock. And it's going to be at the theater at North again this year. Plenty of parking behind there. And tickets are $10 in advance and $15 at the door. So it's a very affordable, fun afternoon.
Now, you're going to see some older Americans in our area performing, just as though you may have seen them on those of you who remember the Ed Sullivan Show and some of those entertainment shows on television. There'll be singers.
Correct.
You may have dancers. You may have somebody playing an instrument, and they don't just pop up from the audience that day to do their thing. You've got a screening process.
Correct. We had 2 screenings or 2 auditions that we then went down to 8, maybe 10 performers that are going to be performing on Sunday. You have to be 55 and older. And I encourage everybody to come, Dave, because it's not your grandmother and grandfather's show. And it's also people on Americans Got Talent,
yes,
that show, they are even seeing more senior acts than they have in the past.
True. Yes,
they have.
that's true.
Because the senior of today is not the senior of yesterdays. So
yeah, I think that you're right. There was a time when you hit a certain age and everything formal stopped. You kind of got into that retirement setting where you took it easy. You maybe participated in your particular hobby, but not too much apart from that. First of all, today you've got a lot of folks that are certainly well past normal retirement age that are still working. Now, I retired technically at 65 years old, and that was 10 years ago. I've done this show almost every year since. My wife and I host trips for travel agency here in the Scranton area. You know, I still remain active, and I see a lot of my peers, if you will, that are doing the exact same thing. Now, as it happens, my talent is interviews. I do have a harmonica, but I'm not particularly good with it. And as for singing, that was my late brother had the singing talents in the family. And yet you seem to find folks that do pretty darn well.
We do. We even have dramatic readers. We have impressionists. We had somebody one year who had a dog act. So the talent is all over. You just don't have to be a singer. You can do any of those talents that you could juggle. You could have a magic act. It doesn't matter. Just the talent. You're an amateur, and you're 55 years of age of older. That's all that we require.
Now, while the folks that come and enjoy this from an audience perspective, obviously their financial contribution helps to keep the programs alive at the centers. But the people who perform, they're actually they're presenting entertainment to you, but they're also competing.
They are. We have 3 prizes, first, second, and third, $500, $300, and $200. Also, we have a new that we started last year was an audience award. And what that is after they're done with the first act, we have these boxes up on the stage while the judges are in the back deliberating, and the audience get to stuff their favorite act's box with
so they vote
dollar
as well.
bills.
They
get to vote for that. It's just purely whatever box gets the most money, they get to be the audience award. So it gives the audience a way to participate because, I mean, I have to be honest, you know, talent is subjective. So what the judges may come up with as their winner, the audience will go, really? I was hoping that, you know, the other act would have won. So it gives them that opportunity to participate. It was so successful last year. People loved it, so we are bringing it back again this year.
It's a wonderful idea.
It is.
And I'm wondering if this is year number 6. Is it now easier to find the seniors who are willing to take the risk to get into the auditions?
Yes, because 2 things happen. One, they see what's on stage and they're like, you know, I can do that. So they will participate. I had somebody last year at the end of the show who came up to me, a woman who plays the piano, and she said, I want to audition. And she's auditioning this year. Well, she did audition this year as well. So they see that, they feel comfortable, and they see it's a great opportunity. Where are you going to be able to do your craft on a Broadway stage in front of close to 400 people?
Sure.
So,
and I should point out that Electric City Television has recorded these various Seniors Got Talent programs, and you will see some of those right here on our station. You know, after this show is actually done live, we'll undoubtedly have it running periodically on Electric City Television. In the meantime, you may see 1 or 2 of the programs from the last year or 2. You can get a little idea as to just how good some of these folks are. Do most of them offer a talent that they've actually carried over for many years, or have some of them actually suddenly become interested and picked up their talent or discovered their talent?
I think a majority of them are people that have brought their talent with them from years gone by.
Never realized they have another chance to show it.
And then they didn't, and then all of a sudden we came up with this show and they have this opportunity to do it, and they come, like after they audition and we choose the acts, then we work with each act and how to enhance it to make it even a better show, you know, and a better opportunity for them. So they come in costumes, we have lighting, they get to use any type of mic that they want. So I tell everybody, come once and you'll be a repeat customer.
I think it's been so good that there really should be an effort made at the state level to facilitate this in various areas throughout the state. I think it can be very healthy for the individuals that participate, as well as those that can come and enjoy the fruits of those labors at a program such as yours. You should get the ball rolling and see if you can't get
That's the next show.
State Agency on Aging. Get them going. Who knows? PCN, you know, the cable network might decide to pick up a master show instead of the farm show every year. We'll have Seniors Got Talent show.
Well, on that note, I will tell you that last year we were contacted by America's Got Talent, the national broadcast.
Is that right?
They were wondering if we had any talent and they took some of the CDs of the shows to see if there's any talent that they wanted to bring out to California.
Oh, my word.
To participate. Now, it's a little cost prohibitive for us to get somebody out there, but yeah, they saw through the internet, that glorious internet, they found us and found our programs, and we were contacted by them.
That's great.
Yeah.
And who knows where it could lead from here. And we will get back to our discussion of Seniors Got Talent, and again, your participation by virtue of being the audience. But in the meantime, I think I'd like to go over some of the programs that are offered on a daily or a weekly basis at the centers. Because here again, I think we have a stereotype image in our mind
You do.
of a place where you go to perhaps at noon on a
play
given
bingo.
day. And well, I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking getting a meal, and then you head on out again. And by the way, very reasonable meals. So let's take an average day or an average week at the centers run by United Neighborhood Centers, and give an idea of what people might experience if they come there for the first time, and perhaps be attracted to make that a regular style.
Sure. And that's the key. I tell everybody, come once, at least come one time and try it. Look at the menu, pick a meal that you would enjoy or an activity that's going on, and you need to try it. You just can't come in and look at it and then leave. You need to spend that day and that morning with us to see really what happens. So, and Dave, to me, there's these two groups of older adults right now. The older seniors that come during the day. They come, senior centers were really started to have a hot lunch. So
Yes,
that is what is
that
there.
image,
So
again,
correct.
yeah.
And we do still have that. But now you get a choice between a hot lunch or a lighter fare, because a lot of people are watching their weight, they're watching their calories, their fat intakes. So you have that option now. You didn't have that option years ago.
Yeah.
So you have that coming. They also come for any type of socialization, which that is one of the best medicines for anybody, is socialization versus isolation.
Yes, yeah.
So when I hear you're doing everything right. All the socialization that you are doing is wonderful. So they do that. We do screenings. We have a program where twice a week you can get your blood pressure, your blood oxygen, and your weight checked. And we have caught things for people beforehand, before they got out of hand with regards to their health. So that's a wonderful thing. That's called TIPS. It's a telehealth program. So that we have that program. We have other screenings. We might do hearing screenings, vision screenings. So there's a way, all of those, to keep you healthy. Mm-hmm. We also have the socialization activities. We have parties. Everybody loves a party. And we have speakers that will come in.
I've done that myself.
Correct.
I have some expertise with regard to local stories concerning the Titanic. And I was invited into a center here in the area, and I know people were thrilled to be able to hear some of these stories that they had really never knew existed about that ship and its impact on people who were coming to this area.
Absolutely, and they love to hear those stories. Then they can do the regular things, play cards, play bingo. We have Wii bowling tournaments that go on.
Now that's like a video game type
It
thing.
is. It is. Yeah. So we have those sorts of things. Then you have this different group, these boomers that are now becoming seniors. So Dave, they're still working during the day, so they can't
yes.
come during the day,
Yeah.
or they're taking care of grandchildren, or they're taking care of an older parent themselves. So we have to offer them different things in the evening or in the late afternoon to meet their growing needs as well. And that's our new challenge.
How long are the centers open?
Well, this is going to be new. Our centers are only open until 1:30.
Okay.
But then we offer Tai Chi in the evening, or we offer yoga in the evening.
Okay.
We're going to be offering programs to help those boomers prepare for retirement,
Well, that's
prepare
a
for
whole
aging.
new crowd.
That's a whole new crowd. And that crowd doesn't want to come to senior centers because they're not a senior, Dave. They're an
don't
older
see
adult.
themselves- yeah,
They're
I
active
see.
older. Yes.
I see.
They'll come and volunteer and help those older adults that are there during the day. It's very, very fascinating. Very
Well, what kind
fascinating.
of age range would you say you generally deal with
During the day?
Between the boomers and, yes, yeah.
Well, to participate in activities, and the county it's 60 years of age and older.
Okay.
So during the day, you will see 70 to, we have 95-year-olds that are there, who I would challenge you to come and pick out that 95-year-old. You wouldn't be able to.
Is that right?
Absolutely. So then in the evening, you have that 55 to almost 70. We call it the sweet spot. Those are wanting different activities because they're still working, or they're taking care of grandparents or grandchildren, or older parents.
Now that boomer crowd that you mentioned, the new seniors coming into the system, that's got to be a real challenge because their needs and interests are still changing.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's an ongoing change, an ongoing evolution. They can't retire from their job as quickly as they might have hoped to in the past. Financial necessities may force them to continue to work. And yet they need the socialization, and some of, as you say, if they're caring for someone else, they've got to have a little education as to how to provide that care.
Absolutely, and that's where everybody is caught in, and we're trying to get off the ground an aging mastery program. It's called How to Master Your Aging, and they're 10 sessions, and they deal things with, like, an elder lawyer will come in. What does power of attorney mean? You know, what are all those terms out there that may be confusing? You have a financial planner come in, give them tips of how to protect all of their assets for what they have. We also have one on community engagement. Okay, you're going to retire. What are you going to do now? You're going to sit at home? Are you going to be able to volunteer somewhere? We also have one on sleep and exercise. We also have somebody, the very first session, come in and talk about aging. What is the normal aging process? Because everybody, as soon as you forget where your keys are, I must be getting Alzheimer's. Well, that's not true. Forgetting what you use the keys for, that is part of the dementia now scope. But we all lose our keys. I lose my keys, you know. So that's the challenge, because really, I think you and I were talking, people need to embrace aging. We need to disrupt it. How do we disrupt it? By engaging in our community, coming to the centers, educating ourselves, because aging's here. I use a personal story. This past 2017, I lost a sibling, as did my husband, at way too young of age, to unfortunately brain diseases.
Okay.
But so that makes me think we need to embrace this aging. It's going to happen. So let's make the best of it.
Yeah, and there's so much that one can do after that normal retirement age. Last week, we had Bill Goldsworthy from the Red Cross on our program. He talked about the amazing need for numbers of volunteers to help with Red Cross. Something as simple as going to a blood drive and registering the name of the person who's checking in, something like that. And yet there are 100 other things. They're installing smoke detectors at homes right now.
That's great.
And they use teams of 3 people to do that, to make sure they're located in the right spot.
Right.
Something someone can handle, certainly well beyond 65 years of age. We have the Voluntary Action Council right here in Lackawanna County, always in need of people to help them with their various programs. And Red Cross and Voluntary Action Council provide the training. When there's a volunteering position that needs training, they provide that for you.
Absolutely.
So it isn't though you're just going in cold and, you know, gee, hope I can do it.
No, and that's even at our centers. Our centers are run by volunteers, by senior volunteers.
Oh.
And that's wonderful. I mean, we have a manager, a staff.
Right.
But the person answering the phone at one of the centers, she's 95. She's taking the orders for their meals. She's answering the phones. We have the people that serve the meals. They're all up there in age, but they come to volunteer because they get so much out of it, as do we.
Yeah. Are you then in need of still more volunteers?
Oh, sure. We always could use volunteers for different things. We had a younger, older adult who came in, great at computers. Well, that's wonderful. Now she's there every day doing some computer work for us.
That is fantastic. There is the biggest change in society has been that switch over to the online way of life, to where people now order Christmas gifts online. more and more things demand actually online participation. And for that older senior, the actual senior that won't touch a computer and yet may have to for something, they've got to know at least some basics, or at least have someone that can help them do it.
And guess what? At our centers we do. We have an iPad program. So we have iPads available during the day. If they have the internet capability in their apartments or their homes, they can check out that iPad for the night or the weekend.
Oh.
And we have classes, we teach them how to do. Some of our older adults now have Facebook pages they can connect with their grandchildren. Now, how wonderful is that?
Yeah, that's tremendous. They can actually get on one or two of the programs that are available, again, on a computer, and face-to-face talk with the grandchild
Absolutely.
who's in another state, another country. But that also suggests that you folks running the centers have to be in a constant state of what is the next need. How do you do that?
We attend conferences. You just do some research, you read a lot, we pass along information to each other, even not just our 4 centers, but all of us in Lackawanna County. We share our ideas and share the information that we have. So that's a good thing, and we need to do that. There's not competition among centers. We're all here to meet these needs because a lot of we're just having this discussion, and older adults are passing away. Now, they've been passing away since everybody was born, but the difference is, back then, there were still older adults that still were coming into the centers during the day. Well, now this generation's passing away, but there's nobody coming in as many during the day. It's that evening boomer group because they can't. Again, those reasons, taking care of somebody, a grandchild, or working.
It's almost as though you have a bit of a gap, a few-year gap.
Correct.
Between the older crowd, the traditional crowd, let's call it that, and this new boomer crowd.
Correct.
So you've got to account for that void as well.
But that's a great challenge to have, and that's what the United Edward Centers we're trying to embrace. And by having like this Seniors Got Talent, we're trying to embrace this and try to figure out the needs. And the county just did a needs assessment. The Lackawanna Area Agency on Aging just did a needs assessment. So we're very anxious to hear those results and see what the needs are of those out there in the community.
Now, is that then input from the older Americans, the older citizens?
Absolutely. They had 3 categories. They had senior citizens, we'll call them, because that's what they did. Caregivers, which is that's another show.
Sure.
And then also the providers, those providing the services. So they're going to put all that together, and we're really anxious to see what took place.
Okay, now I'll remind everybody that the admission cost for the entertainment program, the Seniors Got Talent, those funds they don't buy candy with that.
No.
These are used to help.
To help us foster more programs, yes, to maintain what we have, but now we need these funds to help us with these other programs that you and I have been talking about.
Sure. So by all means, come and enjoy the Seniors Got Talent presentation, and know that your participation as an audience member is going to really help. In the meantime, if you're folks that like to go to the centers or thinking about going to the centers,
please come.
Bring your talent along with you too, because you're liable to wind up on the show. So, do you have this year's acts lined up already, or are you still in the stage of picking?
No, we're ready to go. And I will tell you, our MC again is Evie Rafalco McNulty.
Right.
So you know right there it's going to be a fun afternoon.
Yeah, she can do a little song and dance herself, right?
Our judges this year are Brenda Conlon. She's part of the Sabre Health Group. We have, I hope I pronounce his name right, Sid Prejean, the former Lackawanna County public defender. And also this year is kind of unique. We have a younger judge. He's a 2010, I believe, graduate of Abington Heights, but he's a QVC host.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, he's one of my friend's son, and I reached out, and he is so excited. And so I think it's going to be a great show with just along those judges and our MC. And we have Tony Nicosia back again to help us with the show. The second half, real quick, after, okay, so the talent, they compete. Then we have the intermission with the audience award. Then after that, the second half, while the judges are still deliberating, is going to be a throwback from the past. We're asking them, even the young crowd, to come out and see who made your grandparents or your mother or your father swoon. Coming back will be Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Ethel Merman, and Connie Francis. Now, the younger generation probably hasn't really heard of those. I grew up with them. So, yeah, it'll be very interesting to see them come back.
Yes, indeed. Talk about some talent, some big names there. I think names like Sinatra and Martin, they just sort of just continue on no matter what generation's around. They've managed to survive. How long will the program be?
It starts at 2 o'clock, and it's usually from 2 to 4.
And this is Theater at the North.
Right, on Main Avenue in Scranton.
And the date again?
Is Sunday, April the 8th, and there is plenty of parking behind the building there. It's pretty, you don't realize that. Everybody's going, where are we going to park? Drive up around that back, and there's a huge parking lot.
I will assume that a couple of the viewers know where their keys are, but may forget something that we've said here. So if they want more information about A, Seniors Got Talent, or B, just what's offered at the centers, how can they get that information?
Well, to purchase tickets, you can get them at any of the centers from 8:30 to 1:30, Monday through Friday. You can also call 570-346-0759, and you'll be able to reserve tickets that way. And of course, as you talked about, online at our website on www.uncnepa.org, and you can purchase them online. And again, if none of those fail, the day of, $15 at the door.
Great. Okay, Laurie Fleming, thank you so much. Sounds like a great show coming up. And more than that, it sounds like a real tremendous positive effort to help those folks that have managed to hit 65 and hope to go a heck of a lot further and enjoy their life while they're doing it. That's the most important thing. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me again this year.
And you folks keep watching for some of the previous shows right here on Electric City Television. Mark McGlory is the guy that went out and kept those acts in focus. He's the one that keeps us in focus, except when I automatically go out of focus on my own. That's a separate thing I do. I'm David DeCosmo for ECTV Live, and until we see you again next week, here's hoping all your news is good.